All right, court is calling 2025 CR 004587 State versus Jamison Robert Franklin. Could I have parties announced?
Jonathan Alvarado for the defense.
And are you Mr. Franklin? All right, did you review the motion to revoke community supervision and First Amendment motion to revoke community supervision with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes.
Are you the same Jamison Robert Franklin who was placed on community supervision in 2025 CR 004587 for the offense of manufacturing delivery of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, 4 to 200 grams, on July 24th, 2025 for a term of 8 years? Is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, state.
Violated condition number 1, on or about the 3rd day of December 2025 in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant Jamison Robert Franklin committed the offense of possession of controlled substance in violation of condition number 1.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
True.
Violated condition number 1, on or about the 23rd day of February 2026 in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant Jamison Robert Franklin committed the offense of fraud, use, possession, identifying information in violation of condition.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
True.
State will waive the remaining allegations.
No objections.
All right. Did you understand by pleading true to violations 1 and 1, the court could find it true, grant the motion, and sentence you to 10 years in the prison?
Yes, ma'am.
Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violation of conditions 1 and 1?
Yes.
Court will find violation of condition 1 and 1 true. State, what are you requesting?
We're requesting that you grant state's motion to revoke your honor and sentence to 10 years. This is based on the fact that Mr. Franklin was placed on probation, and approximately 5 months later, he picked up the new drug case. This case was then set for MTR. It had to be continued because Mr. Franklin picked up new cases. Looking at the conditions of Mr. Franklin's probation, there were minimal requirements, including community service, partial GPS. That partial GPS was for employment only, and on 12/4/25 it was removed because of Mr. Franklin being somewhere he shouldn't have been and was caught with less than a gram. So because of this continued action of victimizing the community, we just urge that he's not a good candidate for probation and ask that you revoke him.
Judge, probation had recommended DDRF, and initially there had been a recommendation of safe P that they then changed to DDRF. And Judge, I would like to call his mother as a witness.
Okay.
She is here in the gallery.
All right, have her come up.
Okay.
You're back against the counter.
Deputy Mejia, she can sit down. Oh, please have a seat. I don't take it as a sign of disrespect. All right, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Valerie Gonzalez Frank.
All right, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon, Ms. Franklin.
Yeah.
You know why we're here today, right? Okay. It was already mentioned, but who is Jamison to you?
He's my brother.
How many children do you have? How old is Jamison?
He's 30.
Okay. There has been previous times in which Jamison has gotten in trouble. Is that fair? And have you seen over the course of his life the issues that he's been going through and how they've affected him? Okay. And give the judge an idea of what's your own personal background as far as your employment goes.
I'm a retired social worker. I hold 6 degrees, 4 upper educational degrees. I am a therapist as well, with an emphasis in mental health.
And so, besides being Jamison's mother, in my discussions with you, you've been very informed as to his conditions and what he's gone through and how that's affected his life. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. Previously, when Jamison was placed on probation, he had Mr. Del Prado and Mr. Bunkis as attorneys. And during that process, was a mitigation specialist appointed and worked on the case in order to create a litigation packet?
Yes.
Okay, and you were aware of that litigation packet? You actually gave it to me, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay. Is this the litigation packet that, and I've shown this to the state judge. I would just ask, if I may, give it to the court for its review. A lot of the stuff that I'm going to ask Ms. Franklin is covered in this, this packet. So the packet and our discussions mentioned Jameson at a young age had an accident. What was that accident?
It was on his birthday. He had what's considered a TBI, a traumatic brain injury. He fell off a virtual motorcycle ride and suffered a series of seizures. His life immediately changed. He now has epilepsy and grand mal seizures and focal seizures.
And is that still taking place to this day, even while he's in custody?
Yes.
Besides the seizures and being epileptic, does Jameson have any other diagnosed mental health or brain conditions?
Yes.
What are those?
His IQ level is of an 8-year-old. Where the scar tissue in his brain is, he is unfortunately not a candidate for brain surgery. There's more cons than there is pros. And he is diagnosed as MR, which is mentally retarded. He has significant learning disabilities, cognitive disabilities, ADHD, ADD, a series of other mental health disorders, such as can't reason too well from right and wrong, especially peer associations, affiliations. Mental health wise, if I were to diagnose him, I would definitely diagnose him today with bipolar disorder type 1, oppositional compliance disorder, personality disorder, some narcissistic disorders.
So he has quite a few different things going on as a result of the accident, but also just his condition.
Yes.
And I mentioned in the beginning, it's not the first time Jameson's been in trouble. Was there a prior incident when he was 18, when he was in the Bexar County Jail? Are you familiar with that incident?
Yes.
What happened to Jameson while he was in jail?
Oh, I've read your report, Counsel.
Okay, so that part, yes, thank you, Judge. Has that severely infected him?
Most definitely. That was a secondary traumatic episode where he was left for dead.
And he's been to prison before.
Yes.
And leaving prison, I want to focus on that. Did you feel like you saw any kind of change in his behavior, in the sense of like he had learned how to deal with these issues better? Had prison helped him at all?
Actually, no. We spoke at length about quote unquote monsters. There was many times where I would visit him on a weekly basis, and the staff would ask me if he even spoke. He was very scared of the controlled environment, and he basically just clammed up as a big survival of the fittest. Just isolated himself. Upon returning home, we tried our best to seek services. He is enrolled with DARS, the Department of Assisted and Rehabilitation Services. Right now, he is pending to be recertified to be identified as disabled once in the Social Security Administration to once again receive his Medicare.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Has Jameson, you're familiar with DDRF, I've explained it to you how it's a long program. Has Jameson ever gone through a program quite like that? Like where it's almost 6 months long, it's focused on mental health, anything like that?
No, not that level.
And you mentioned to me that I think it was this week you had actually had a conversation with Jameson. I think it was either on the phone or teleconference, where he expressed to you some desires. What were those?
Actually, for the first time, he made the outcry, that he needed help. As a mom, it's been very hard. We've said wear many hats. And, when this happened, in jail, I've seen a deterioration where he's intentionally destroyed himself. But I'm not going to offer any assistance unless he wants the assistance. Occasionally I would say, you need help. But it's a very sore subject that he didn't want to open Pandora's box until recently, where he said, my life has been put in hell. I'm just dying, and I can't save myself. He did reach out to Lifetime Recovery. Unfortunately, because he's remanded without bond, he was not quite eligible for their services. I did reach out and meet to Serenity Star, and they do have that for him. If that's something that's available for him. We discussed that at length, and he's prepared not only to want those services, but actually do all the homework. He knows that it's overdue, but it's all on his responsibility.
Right. And I think something you told me, and you mentioned it kind of in your statement just now, is that you were going to be there to help him if he wanted to help, was the key. And so now that he's asked you for help, or he's made the outcry for help, as you said it, are you willing to, if the judge is going to allow him to stay on probation and go to DDRF or some other inpatient facility like that, are you going to support him when he gets out to try and help him go through this rest of this probation successfully?
Most definitely. I don't stand alone. Jameson has the blessing of myself, his father, who's my husband, his only grandparent is my mother. We're all three here. He has two brothers, an older brother who is thriving, only 18 months older, who just moved to Louisiana. We just visited him, and he lives out in the country. Is willing to help Jameson thrive. We all parent Jameson since the age of 8 because of everything that has been thrown at him, especially after the situation in jail. We literally were told that he was going to be unschooled. So it's been a challenge the last 12 years. But we're ready for now that he's ready to open that Pandora's box to help him without conditions. Whatever the professionals suggest, we're ready to hold his hand and walk this extensive walk with.
I have no further questions, just a past witness.
State.
Hi, Ms. Franklin. My name is Leslie. I'm one of the prosecutors for the state. I have a few follow-up questions. Do you discuss on direct with Mr. Alvarado that Mr. Franklin has some mental deficiencies?
Yes.
Does Mr. Franklin maintain and make his own health and financial decisions?
No.
Yeah. Does he have a power of attorney?
I have 4.
So because of Mr. Franklin's mental deficiency, his TBI, are you telling this court that he fails to appreciate the consequences of his actions?
Can you be a little bit more specific of the question?
So failing to appreciate the consequences of his actions. So if he does something, is he able to consider what may happen if I do this, then this will result? Is he not able to do that?
We do speak about that. He relies heavily on us. The number 7 is what works with Jameson, but he does know if I do something, there's going to be what I always say is an earned consequence, either a positive or a negative. So I feel at this time, just know that for every action there's a reaction. For every there's an ABCD, there's an action, behavior, choice, and decision.
But is he able to come to that? Like for every action, there's a reaction. Is he able to formulate that without discussing with you?
At times.
At times, okay. Does Jameson reside with you currently, or
Yes.
for incarceration? Yes. And is that the same location that his grandmother also resides?
Correct.
Yes. Okay. You stated that you and a lot of family members parent Mr. Franklin. Is that correct?
Yes.
At the the time of these alleged offenses, do you know whether family members were home? Did y'all know about Mr. Franklin's whereabouts on the offense dates?
No, when he bonded out, I know I called the probation department. I made him call the probation department because Judge Boyd ordered him to be on a monitor, and that did not happen. I'm a very strict parent, because my son is 30. However, the problem with my peers of an 8-year-old, so a parent has an 8-year-old, not a 30-year-old. And I said, you need to be on a monitor, you're gonna get in trouble. However, it was just what he does. Don't worry about it. So we've never been involved with any of these wrongdoings.
Okay, so you're telling this court then, because now Mr. Franklin is stating he wants help, you're going to implement this to ensure he, I guess, has a curfew, or what steps are you gonna take?
Oh, most definitely. We have implemented lots of boundaries. I'm very active with rights recovery. And Jameson is part of that. He has a life coach now. As a matter of fact, he just entered UP in Detroit. And he'll be participating every week in several support groups, and also you can't when you get into this what I call a mess, you can't break the mess by yourself. You need a hard goes, and so that's what the chosen family is. We're prepared to, like I said, hold his hand, not do it for him because that's not going to help. But hold his hand, make him responsible, like you were saying, because in the end, he is an individual, and I've been a participant for 5 years. My other loved one has a addiction, and that's what got me to today's recovery. And also, I'm a certification myself, so basically, so I'm pretty familiar with that now. It's nothing that I wanted to know about, but I'm blessed that I do today. The three of us are retired. So we have the freedom of being not at his beck and call, but being of age. So scheduling for workshops, for seminars, for with DARS, there's several recommendations that the caseworker has set out for Jameson, such as Barbara College. So I'll be attending that with him if that's a possibility. I look forward to that. If that's the best my son sees.
And then finally, you testified that Mr. Franklin was scared of the controlled environment. Is that jail correct? Yeah. So DDRF is going to be a controlled program environment. So how can you be sure that people need to welcome its treatment help?
I did a quick research on this program. It's not prison. It's a program, and I shared that first time. What he's scared of is another sexual abuse, physically abuse, and leaving him for dead, and a pile of pieces of me not knowing, and then 3 days later, not recognizing my son, having a sheriff right there, and having the hospitalist tell me that I need to bond him out, or else I'm going to kill myself. And rest assured that this program is a safe haven. It's a rehabilitation resource, unlike what he experienced at Schwarz's with the private.
Ray, no further questions.
Any further questions?
All right, thank you for giving me some insight. Any other witnesses?
May I speak to my client briefly, Judge?
Sure.
We have no further witnesses, Judge. We rest.
All right, State, do you have any witnesses?
No.
All right, Norma, recall this for Friday, and at that time, I'll hear argument and I'll make my decision.
For tomorrow, Judge?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Oh, Council, this is yours.